Hello Internet, I'm Nick Acciani and these are my adventures backstage. This week I kind of wanted to start, well not actually start because I technically started it with 2 videos before, but I wanted to continue the stage managing series of these videos. Right now I am stage managing a show and I would do it in the time that I'm stage managing a show. Probably about 2 weeks behind because I'm about 2 weeks behind time-wise and there hasn't been a video in like 2 months. Oops. I've talked about what goes into a stage manager's bag, I've talked about what a stage manager is, and I've talked about what goes into a prompt book. This week I'm going to talk about kind of the first thing that happens when you start a stage managing job, and that is your prep week. It's pretty self-explanatory. My first equity job, the production manager was like, okay, rehearsals start on this date and your prep week starts a week before that. And I was a little confused because before this I had only worked non-equity or 99 seat, which is a modified equity agreement. So I had to ask, I'm like, is this the week that you just kind of prepare things? And they're like, yeah. So your prep week is basically your week to get your together. So what should you be thinking about getting together for your prep week? Almost the first thing that I will do on any prep week is get in touch with my actors and the design team and production team. It's usually via email. For the actors, I will send 3 emails. They usually get 3 emails from me in the beginning. The first is an email introducing myself, giving my contact information, and giving the contact list as well. That will usually be in my first email to them. Then I'll have a separate email asking for their conflicts. They should have given their conflicts already, but generally I will collect them myself because usually they add things. They don't say things on their audition sheet that they need to have said because they think they won't get cast or they just forgot. So I will send an email asking for conflicts and then a third email asking for allergies. Food allergies specifically, but I ask for any allergies at all because you never know if someone's going to need an EpiPen at some point. It's just nice to have that all in there. Food allergies specifically in case there's prop food during the show, in case the theater wants to feed the cast and the crew at some point during tech week. Having all of that information is handy because if someone's gluten-free, you can't just give them a pizza. And the reason I do it in 3 separate emails is actually because it's easier for me. I can just go look in that email thread of conflicts to see everybody's conflicts. I can look in that email thread of allergies and see all their allergies, and it helps me see who's responded and who hasn't. And on these 3 emails, I will ask them to respond at the bottom of the email before I sign off to know if they've gotten it or not, and if they've read it. Usually works. So you've emailed the cast, email the production team and introduce yourself. Say you're the stage manager and you're going to be receiving a lot of emails from you in terms of reports and stuff, and just kind of a general like, hey, this is my contact information. If you need to get in touch about the show, about rehearsals and all that stuff, you'll be talking to me. Let's get to know each other, especially the lighting and the sound designer and sometimes projection designer, because you will need to know who they are and talk to them when you get cues later on. After that, what's the rest of the week look like? It's a lot of paperwork. This is sitting down with the script and going through the script for props, pulling the sound cues out of the script. That sounds like you're actually reaching into the script and pulling them out. You're not. Some people highlight, some people circle, some people just write it down on the list. I kind of do a mixture of all of those. So I'll highlight props in one color, I'll highlight sound cues in another. I usually do this in a separate script than the one that I format to take blocking notes and all that, just so I can keep one that's just messy of all of those notes. So going through the script, pulling all of those things, and then putting them into templates and lists. I'll usually create a prop tracking sheet because I like to know where it starts and where it ends on the stage. And I will send this out to my ASMs because for me, when I'm stage managing, I'm taking care of the blocking. My ASMs are usually on book and taking care of the props. So I usually give that responsibility of tracking all the props to my ASMs. I do the same thing with costumes, but that list doesn't get filled out yet because that's not going to be until tech when they actually know what costumes they're wearing, with set pieces, with lights. I'll make templates for these things. They're not complete lists yet because we haven't rehearsed, so we don't know what we need. But having the templates beforehand makes tech a whole lot easier because I don't have to think about it. I can just give it to someone, give it to an ASM, and they can fill it out and give it back to me, and then I can type it up later. Maybe I'll throw all my templates up on my website and just have them there for people to use and take, because I think I do pretty well with the templates. Other templates that I do, I format my script. There's something to be said about having a rehearsal script, a blocking script, and a performance script. I've gotten to a point where I kind of like them all as one because I don't like rewriting my blocking, and I like having my blocking there in the script that I'm calling so I know when people mess up and what's going on. So I make a template for one side of my script and the other side of my script. I will be going through my entire script later with how to write blocking and cues and like how I set it up, but during this week I go through that and I format my entire script. I will get ground plans from the scenic designer, throw them in my book. It's basically just getting everything organized so you can walk in to rehearsal on the first day, open your book, and be ready to go. Report templates, deciding what sections you're going to put in your binder go into this. So like when I was doing Avenue Q, I had a whole section on puppets because I'd rip and break and our puppet coach had to fix them and that type of thing. And they had their own section. It was my favorite section because it was the puppet section. I mean, how many shows can you do puppets in? Probably a lot, but it's Avenue Q. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. Getting all your office supplies. Making that Staples run, Office Depot, Office Mag, wherever your office supplies come from, Target even. Getting that binder. I hadn't, oh gosh, what I forgot. Putting your bag together, or your box, or your stage manager kit. The theater that I'm working at has all of the supplies that I could need. So my stage manager kit is really kind of my own personal supplies. So it's not as decked out as the video I have from on my stage manager bag from a while ago. You can look at that here. That video is great on what you might need if you're visiting a theater or renting out a theater. It's like the theater doesn't have its own base or doesn't have its own supplies, what you might need for that. So check that out. Yeah, basically prep week is get prepared so you're not having panic attacks and having anxiety attacks during rehearsals because you didn't do something. You will not have done something because it's almost impossible to think of everything, but this just limits that. But yeah, so that's all for this week's video. I hope you learned something. If you like this video, comment below, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, check out my other videos, and remember, do what you love and love what you do. Nick out. Excuse the paint on my hands. I've been painting all day at work. The paint hasn't come off my hands. Hashtag scenic artist problems.